Today's Reel to Reel is brought to you in part by Holy Family Passionist Retreat Center in West Hartford, Connecticut. Join us for a day, evening, or weekend retreat from now through June to nourish your spirit and renew your faith. For more information on men's and women's retreats, visit our website, holyfamilyretreat.org.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
We'll introduce you to some pretty spectacular teachers recognized for their excellence in the classroom. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
I'm Steve Kiltonic at Pope Francis Prep, where the boys' basketball team is seeking their third straight Western Mass crown.
And the season of Lent begins this Wednesday. It's a time to do so much more than just give up chocolate. Some local experts will explain. It's all just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel as we kick off the month of March. In just a few days, we will begin the holy season of Lent, an introspective time when we ponder our relationship with God and each other. I spoke with a few people, including our own Bishop William Byrne, about why this season is so special. Dating back to the earliest days of Christianity, Lent marks a 40-day period leading up to the holiest days in the Christian calendar, Holy Week and Easter. The word Lent comes from the Anglo-Saxon word for springtime, a time commonly known for the sacrifices of fast and abstinence. But Bishop William Byrne says it doesn't have to be about just giving up something.
And that's what almost everybody concentrates on. And while that's a very important and holy practice, it can't be at the exclusion of trying to deepen our prayer life. If fasting is just for the sake of not of eating chocolate, then it's a waste of time. It should be as a way of focusing ourselves on Jesus Christ, who entered in to sacrifice itself, and also prayer by spending time with Jesus.
Carrie Weber, executive editor of the national Jesuit magazine America, agrees that at its core, Lent is about spiritual transformation. And with a young family of her own, she and her husband try to make Lent fun. Last year, they went on a family retreat.
Which was really fun. It was not a word you always associate with Lent, but it was good to have a time together as a family, to pray, to be together. So that was something that we tried to do. My children were just discussing what they were going to give up for Lent. School was suggested as an option, so we're trying to redirect them. And my third grader did point out, if you already don't want to do it, it's not, and you give it up, it's not a sacrifice.
Michael McGravy, assistant professor of religious studies and the director of the Institute for Theology and Pastoral Studies at the College of Our Lady of the Elms in Chicopee, also believes there are many paths that can lead to a successful Lenten journey. And for some, it might be a good time to explore coming back to the church.
There's always that sense of welcoming to no matter who walks through the door. And I see that from many of the clergy, many of the deacons across the diocese that I've been privileged to work with, that they do want folks to feel welcome and at home. And I think Lent is that opportunity to at least re-explore, a sense of faith, a sense of spirituality, and just know that there are open doors in many of our communities to welcome all people in.
Another way to grow spiritually is to go on a retreat. The Passionist Religious Order offers numerous opportunities to get reconnected to God at their Holy Family Retreat House in West Hartford, Connecticut.
When we have the opportunity to step back from the regular and ordinary day-to-day activities of our lives, we have the ability to get a new perspective on our lives, on our faith, on our relationship with God. And so retreat affords us the opportunity to do all of this, to get away from all of the distractions in our lives, to be with God in a very deep and intense way, in a way that will lift us up inevitably and give us the courage to face what we're experiencing in our lives.
But no matter how you choose to mark the holy season of Lent, Bishop Byrne urges everyone to make some commitment this Lent, doing so joyfully with the Lord.
Concentrate on how deeply loved we are through the passion of Jesus Christ, that he would call us to the resurrection and die for us and for our sins. So there's so much to be happy about. But of course, facing the reality of our own sinfulness, but recognizing that God's mercy is greater than any sin we could commit.
And you can find a listing of this and other Lenten events on our calendar at diospringfield.org. And still to come on Reel to Reel, the Pope Francis Prep Cardinals achieve a rare three-peat in Western Mass basketball. Steve Kiltonic was there for the historic win. And Carolee McGrath hit the road this past week as 4 Catholic school teachers received the Pioneer Valley Excellence in Teaching Award. It's all still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Today's Reel to Reel is brought to you in part by Holy Family Passionist Retreat Center in West Hartford, Connecticut. Join us for a day, evening, or weekend retreat from now through June to nourish your spirit and renew your faith. For more information on men's and women's retreats, visit our website, holyfamilyretreat.org.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio, and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
Celebrate Jubilee Year 2025 through a very special Catholic Communications July pilgrimage to Italy and Rome. Join pilgrimage leader Father Gary Daly for this 11-day spiritual journey, July 6th to the 17th. That will include visits to Assisi, Orvieto, Loreto, Lanciano, San Giovanni Rotondo, Mont Sant'Angelo, Pompeii, Sorrento, and Capri, concluding with Rome, where pilgrims will have the opportunity to pass through the holy doors and gain a plenary indulgence. Space is limited. More information can be found at the Jubilee website at diospringfield.org or call 413-452-0643. Don't miss out on this very special spiritual opportunity.
Now the story of an actor who puts his talents to work spreading the good news. Noted actor Frank Runyon is perhaps best known for his role years ago as Steve Andropoulos, playing opposite Meg Ryan on As the World Turns. But he's also an acclaimed translator and performer of biblical texts. Runyon has performed the gospel for hundreds of thousands of people in almost every U.S. state. A few years ago, he brought the Gospel of Luke to life at St. Patrick's Parish in Springfield. From our archives, Peggy Weber tells us how the performance inspired and helped create community.
Organize the whole story Actor Frank Runyon played multiple roles at St. Patrick's Church in Springfield as he told stories from the Gospel of Luke to more than 300 people. The 90-minute performance focused on stories of mercy as Frank educated and enlightened his audience. A graduate of Princeton University, he has an impressive resume as an actor on television and the theater. He also holds a master's degree from the General Theological Seminary in New York. He told his audience that many of the stories of Luke don't have an ending because we are the ending. Jesus is still in the room with us. He focused on several stories, including the Good Samaritan, the Prodigal Son, and Zacchaeus.
Well, I think the reason I started doing these stories is my kids got to an age where they weren't understanding why we went to church and what the stories were about. And so it challenged me to learn more about it and be able to explain it to them.
He concluded his talk with a reflection on Hollywood versus faith. He said that in most Hollywood movies, God is put aside. Their job isn't to tell the truth about God. He also noticed that today people are barraged with commercials and told that buying things will make them happy. He said that people are in the middle of a tug-of-war with what they are told in church and what they are told by society.
No, I'm not telling people that there aren't fun stories to watch on TV. That I don't even enjoy. I can't even enjoy the commercials. I mean, there's wonderful artistry and good work done by good artists that come out of the media and in other places. But we just have to be careful not to believe in it too much.
Frank said he battled cancer 4 years ago, and that it reminded him to keep God at the center of his life. He said that the gospel stories also are needed more than ever in today's world.
There's hard things happen in life. My college roommate took his life, and we had a couple miscarriages, and then you realize that life can be tough. It asks hard questions, and so you need more deeply true stories. So I returned to these stories and found a way to tell them.
Carrie Dowd, a member of St. Patrick's Parish and co-program manager of the event, said she was delighted with the event and Frank's performance. She said that it grew from the evangelization committee in the parish and that her faith means a lot to her.
Anyone with children knows that as soon as you go out there, the world's harsh. It's really difficult raising children, and having them be children of God and remain in the church and being part of this evangelization team has brought me closer to being active in my church, and it sets a role model for my children.
Carol Dalton, administrative assistant at St. Patrick's Parish and co-program manager, also praised the event.
I thought he was wonderful. I thought I had got the chills many times when he spoke, and it really made the Gospel of Luke come alive. Luke is one of my favorite Gospels anyway. I learned some things that I didn't know before.
She explained why the Parish Evangelization Committee invited Frank.
Have something new and hear it in a different way. To touch our hearts again and light that light and get that fire in us about our Lord.
And Frank will continue to light the fire of faith as he performs all over the country with 7 different plays. For Reel to Reel, I'm Peggy Weber.
Now, as part of the Jubilee year, Our Lady of Peace in Turners Falls has invited Frank Runyon back to our diocese to speak about Hollywood versus faith, the struggle to live faithfully in the media age. Runyon's presentation will be held this coming Saturday, March 8th at 7 p.m., sharing his firsthand experience in Hollywood and the media's allure and pitfalls. We have more information on our calendar at diospringfield.org. And now here's a few more upcoming events. Next Saturday, March 8th, Finding Hope in the Midst of Grief will be hosted by Elms College and the Diocese of Springfield. Speakers for the event are Reverend Ute Schmidt, Director of Spiritual Services at Bay State Health, and David Arfa, Bereavement Coordinator at Bay State Hospice. Admission is free, but a free will offering is accepted. Registration is available via a link on the calendar page at diospringfield.org. To learn more information or to register, contact Celeste Labby at c.labby@diospringfield.org. The Catholic community of Amherst is inviting you to join in their parish Lenten mission, Walking on the Path of Hope, with Mother Adela Galindo. It begins on March 12th from 1 to 4 p.m. when Mother Galindo will offer spiritual direction for students, followed by a 7 p.m. presentation. The next day, March 13th, Mother Galindo will offer 2 presentations at St. Bridget Church in Amherst. She will offer a reflection in Spanish during adoration, followed by another talk in English at 6 p.m. Bishop William Byrne invites men of all ages to a Men's Night Jubilee celebration at St. Michael's Cathedral to be held on Wednesday, March 19th, the Solemnity of St. Joseph, beginning with Mass at 7 p.m. with the bishop. Following the Mass will be a talk by Michael Catone, a former Green Beret and retired Massachusetts State Trooper, speaking about his own personal conversion as well as tips on how to live the Catholic faith as a husband, father, co-worker, and man of God. So mark your calendar for Wednesday, March 19th at St. Michael's Cathedral. For a complete listing of calendar events, head over to diospringfield.org. And to submit events to be included, email them to calendar@diospringfield.org. The Pope Francis boys basketball team has enjoyed tremendous success in recent years with wins in the Western Mass Championship game each of the last 2 seasons. Entering the 2024-25 campaign, Pope had a bullseye on their back, and opponents were out to derail the Cardinals and end their winning streak. Pope, however, didn't cave into the pressure and entered the Class A Western Mass tournament as the #1 seed. Steve Kiltonick followed the team during its tournament run and has this report.
On February 22nd, the Westfield High School Gymnasium was filled to capacity as the top-seeded Pope Francis Cardinals took to the court against the #2 Springfield Central Golden Eagles for the Western Mass Class A Championship. Central was the final team standing in the way of Pope claiming their 3rd straight Western Mass crown. The 18-2 Cardinals were also undefeated against Western Mass teams this regular season, with their only losses coming against 2 Connecticut squads. The title game was a rematch of last year, when Pope Francis beat Central by 2 points in a game that went down to the final seconds. The Golden Eagles were out to avenge that loss, as well as a 5-point victory by the Cardinals earlier this regular season. The march to the finals started when Pope beat Minnechaug 75-41 in the quarterfinals, then Putnam 68-51 in the semifinals. Cardinal coach Justin D'Alessio knew it was going to be a physical, all-out battle against Central.
Well, Central's a really tough opponent. We obviously knew that. We have a lot of respect for Central. They're a good team. They have a ton of great athletes. So we were very concerned, but I think felt confident.
Senior Ryan Vitovelli, the team's captain and top scorer, said the game plan included breaking Central's press, which caused problems the last time the teams met in January.
We knew they had a couple big guys, so we had on defense had to box out and make sure they didn't get offensive rebounds. That's where they get a lot of their points.
Central came storming out from the opening tip-off and dominated inside, taking an 11-2 lead before D'Alessio called a timeout.
I didn't like the way we came out. It almost felt like we were still on the bus, like we kind of regrouped and got back out there. And then from that point on, there was a lot of fighting us and toughness and great energy.
Down by 1 after the first quarter, the Cardinals took their first lead of the game, and a buzzer beater by junior Sam Mayfield just before intermission. Pope kept their momentum going into the 3rd quarter and extended their lead to 7. Throughout the game, every loose ball, rebound, and missed shot was contested, as both teams suffered turnovers and missed opportunities. Central made a late charge, cutting the lead to 4 midway through the final quarter, but couldn't cash in at the charity stripe, missing 12 free throws. Vitovelli, who scored 13 points, hit a reverse layup with a few minutes left to up the lead to 6. Junior Sam Brigham, a transfer from St. Mary's, hit a key 3-pointer with less than 5 remaining and finished as Pope's top scorer with 22 points. Mayfield was the leading rebounder and scored 8 points. Junior Jackson Maurer added 5, and sophomore Jackson Edwards tallied 7. defense ultimately won it for the Cardinals 55-48, and they took home the regional title for an unprecedented three-peat.
Being able to hold them to 48 points is very good, especially in a championship game. And everyone contributed, so it's just a great overall team win.
We all wanted that third one to make history, and so we just went out there, played our hardest, and kind of just did it.
Brigham transferred to compete on a larger stage, and as the season progressed, he figured out his role on the team.
Whatever it takes to win. If it's scoring, I'll go score. If it's getting an assist, I'll go pass. If it's getting a rebound, I'll go get a rebound. Playing defense, whatever it takes to get the W. I think this team has great chemistry. Probably my favorite team I've ever played with. It's a huge accomplishment. It's great feeling.
D'Alessio had high praise for Vitavelli, who joined Pope's 1,000-point club earlier this year, and whose name will be added to the gym banner alongside his brother Cam.
Ryan's a winner. When it's all said and done, he's going to win over 70 games, which is pretty remarkable in a 4-year. He started as a freshman, and he's just been a great leader both on and off the court. He's kind of the heart and soul of our team.
D'Alessio has managed to win 3 straight titles with different players, personalities, and team chemistries.
We have coachable kids, but they understand also that each year is different, and we still have the same high expectations. So I think that started a few years back with the group of kids I have. We're just kind of set the foundation.
The Cardinals won't have long to celebrate as the MIAA Division II state tournament starts this week. Pope, the number 3 seed, will look to advance past the round of 16, which has been their Achilles heel the past 2 seasons. D'Alessio likes his team's chances of making a deep run.
This group is capable of doing it as long as they continue, I think, to stay together and work hard, and most importantly, play defense and rebound, which they've been doing. So we're going to see what happens.
No matter how they fare in the tournament, this group of Cardinals will always have the 2025 Western Mass Class A Championship to treasure. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Pope Francis Prep began their quest for the Division II MIAA Championship this weekend with the hopes of adding a first-ever state championship to their trophy case. We congratulate them on a fantastic season and wish them the best of luck in the tourney. We will keep you posted. But no matter how they fare in the tourney, next season looks bright as well. With the loss of only 1 starter, the Cardinals will try to four-peat the Western Mass title. And finally this week, Carolee McGrath and Catholic School Superintendent Maria Wagner logged quite a few miles this past Tuesday as they surprised 4 Catholic school teachers with the Excellence in Teaching Awards. Carolee shares their visits.
Catholic School Superintendent Maria Wagner was on a mission last week. Armed with balloons and flowers, she set out to honor 4 Catholic school teachers who are, well, pretty spectacular.
We have a surprise for Ms. Schwarzkopf. It is my honor to present you with an award for excellence in teaching. Oh my goodness, this is for you.
Stacy Schwarzkopf teaches ELA to 5th and 6th graders at St. John the Baptist School in Ludlow. She's been teaching for 17 years. This is a second career for her. She started off in human resources working for the U.S. Navy.
It's just wonderful. I find the staff, I find the students, there's just something warmer, special, family working here.
The awards, launched by the Harold Grinspoon Foundation in 2002, are given annually to outstanding public and parochial school teachers in Western Massachusetts. The next stop was Pope Francis Prep in Springfield. This award was for a new teacher. Miss Catherine Wheelock, who teaches health and fitness at Pope, was not expecting this. Miss Wheelock has been working at Pope for 2 years.
No idea at all, did not know. I saw Mrs. Geiger coming down the stairs and I was like, oh, she's just coming to check in and see how the day's going. And then I saw a bunch of people walk in and I was like, what is going on? I do Wellness 1. I do strength and conditioning where the kids, they get to do a workout every day in class so they can learn nutrition plans, they can learn how to work out, get form down. And then I do Fitness for Life. We teach the kids how to be healthy throughout life, try to set some healthy habits down. And we also do CPR certification so they learn how to perform CPR, use an AED, administer basic first aid, and we do Stop the Bleed training.
And off to the northwest corner of the state we went, visiting St. Stanislaus Kostka School in Adams to surprise Mrs. Tammy Barroso.
Knock, knock. Is Miss Barroso around?
Hi, I am.
Hello.
Hi.
Remember me?
I do.
Well, congratulations. Pioneer Valley Teachers of Excellence. You're one of the selected ones this year.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Mrs. Barroso teaches 4th grade.
It's such an honor. I'm so excited. And I love what I do here. It's just bringing fun into learning, knowing that they're kids first, just looking always for new ideas, fun ways to deliver the lesson.
And she hits her mark every time, according to her students.
She teaches us really well, and I've learned so much stuff from her, and I just think she really deserves the reward she got.
The last stop for the day was St. Mary's in Lee to surprise Megan Pincenalt, who teaches 2nd grade.
I was completely shocked. I had no idea. So very surprised, very grateful. It feels so nice to be recognized.
Each teacher will receive an engraved plaque and a check for $250, along with generous tuition incentives and scholarships offered by 8 major colleges and universities in the region, and a 3-month gym membership.
It was great seeing how surprised the teachers are. They're so humble. I am perpetually grateful for all the teachers in the diocese that work at our schools.
Not only do these teachers go above and beyond in the classroom, helping kids become more confident readers and helping them solve complicated math problems, they're also able to share their faith with them and even talk about the saints and the Eucharist, which is pretty special.
All right, Miss Ruby.
The ostrich is the largest type of bird.
Mrs. Pincenalt is also preparing her class for First Communion.
It's very special because a lot of them really look forward to being able to receive the Eucharist at Mass, because up until this point we have Mass every week on Friday mornings, and that's not something they can currently do. So once they make their First Communion, Mass is a whole new special celebration, especially when they get to receive the Eucharist for the first time in front of the school community.
It's a safe space for all of us here. When you're in a public school, you don't have that community, or maybe you have like Bible study after school, but it's not a whole school movement per se, or a whole staff movement. We're praying for like the future of our students.
These 4 teachers, along with others from across Western Massachusetts, will be honored at an in-person banquet at the Log Cabin in Holyoke on May 7th. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Be sure to follow all of the latest news on the Catholic Church, both here in Western Massachusetts and around the world, on our news and information site, iobserve.org. And we are also on Facebook. You can follow us there at Catholic Communications. I will see you at the same time next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Enjoy your week.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.
Celebrate Jubilee Year 2025 through a very special Catholic Communications July pilgrimage to Italy and Rome. Join pilgrimage leader Father Gary Daly for this 11-day spiritual journey, July 6th to the 17th. That will include visits to Assisi, Orvieto, Loreto, Lanciano, San Giovanni Rotondo, Mont Sant'Angelo, Pompeii, Sorrento, and Capri, concluding with Rome, where pilgrims will have the opportunity to pass through the holy doors and gain a plenary indulgence. Space is limited. More information can be found at the Jubilee website at diospringfield.org or call 413-452-0643. Don't miss out on this very special spiritual opportunity.